Good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Bryce Jones here. If you missed the show this morning with Raina and I wanted to come on here and we could go through what could be a little bit of a wintry mix for our area tomorrow morning, especially for the morning commute. Some of the morning commute could be a little bit affected by it. There is still a little bit of a model discrepancy that we're still trying to climb through and figure out exactly how it's going to play out because not all models are treating it the same. So there's still a little bit of uncertainty left over, but starting to get at least a little bit of a better picture on what could end up happening for tomorrow morning. So first of all, like the stream, share the stream, especially any of those of you that live in Indiana. Kind of a foreshadow there. Some of you may be affected by some of this tomorrow morning with this wintry mix rolling on in. So like and share the stream. You can find me, meteorologist Bryce Jones. That's Bryce with a Y. On Facebook, on X, Instagram. And you guys can follow me there and ask me questions there. So let me know where you're watching from this morning. Happy Sunday. I'm not going to be on here very long. I know a lot of folks got Sunday plans, heading to church here soon, or maybe to the grocery store or something like that. So just wanted to run through it and do a little quick Q&A after I get done through my spiel. So let me know where you're watching from. Think of a question, and at the end we'll go through. You can send your question, and we'll answer as many as we can as time allows. All right. So we'll go ahead and get ready to go through it. So first of all, right now, our area is sitting in the upper 30s. So, okay, it's a cooler day today, but I wanted to show this because, I mean, we almost hit 70 yesterday. So we had to have the cold air come in somewhere. If we're going to have a wintry mix, it's got to be cold, right? Near 70 isn't cold. That's where we were at yesterday. Again, we have to have the cold air to get here. So now that front has moved on through, we are finally getting that cold air in place. So we're in the mid-30s in Indiana, low to mid-30s there, and low to mid-40s in Kentucky. You can see where the front is obviously moving its way through. It's still near 60 in Nashville, and it's in the 30s here in Louisville. So the cold air is here. So what do we know about this system moving into our area? Well, first of all, snow, sleet, freezing rain, and rain. That is basically every single type of precipitation you can have this time of the year. All of that is possible across our entire area for tomorrow morning. It just kind of comes down to where you live, because some of you are going to see maybe some fat snowflakes early tomorrow morning. Some of you will just see plain old cold rain, and some of you may see a little bit of a mix there between sleet and freezing rain. So it's all going to come down to where you live. I think most of the wintry mix, if we see that, will be north of the Kentucky parkways. Along the Kentucky parkways and south, I think is a mainly cold rain, and really it may even be a little further than north than that, but that is a pretty good guarantee. Is that from the Kentucky parkways further south, that's when you're going to be rolling into a little bit more of just the plain old cold rain. Some impacts are expected for the morning commute tomorrow. By the afternoon, we're going to be above freezing. It's not really going to matter. But it's the timing that this is rolling on in that may catch some folks off guard. So let's get into it. First of all, the clouds are going to roll in again here soon. So get out there and enjoy the sunshine while we got it now, because it's not going to last very much longer. Clouds fill up for the rest of the day. We only end up in the low 50s. You're like, all right, Bryce, well, low 50s is still above freezing. We were at 70 yesterday. How in the world are we going to get anything to stick? Exactly. So your pavement temperatures right now are well above freezing. They will cool quicker tonight as we cool down, but your pavement temperatures lag very far behind your air temperatures falling down. So road pavement temps right now more than likely in the 40s, maybe even low 50s. Way too warm for anything to really stick, at least for now. Let's go into tomorrow morning. So this is the latest high-resolution data that I just saw for myself about an hour ago. And I updated any snow potential and any ice accumulation based off this one. So overnight tonight, we're dry through midnight. After about midnight to around 3 a.m., we're going to start to see this roll its way on in. But you'll notice all of it, for the most part, is just plain old cold rain from there. It's 4 a.m. We're still not at our coldest point yet. Up in southern Indiana, this is when you start to get a little colder earlier than the rest of it. So that's going to be where you're likely going to start to see that mix begin first, is up in southern Indiana. You can see some snow mixing in there, a little bit of sleet and freezing rain, then of course the plain old cold rain for the rest of us. The further we go through, you can start to see that mix come a little bit further south because we're cooling down. We have northeast wind tonight, so we're dragging in that colder air. You get a little bit of that wet, fat snowflake mix still up in southern Indiana, way up near Bedford, Seymour, North Vernon, maybe Madison. And now you're starting to pull this sleet and a little bit of freezing rain mix in further to the south. Data has this mixing in all the way down into Louisville, at least somewhat, with some cold rain, sleet, freezing rain mix in Louisville, starting to mix in around 5 to 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. From there, it's pretty mixy. And you'll notice that mainly the all snow scenario is still way up in our far northern communities in southern Indiana. We're talking again, Bedford, Seymour, North Vernon. That's where you're running into more of those just fat, wet snowflakes that kind of just stick on everything, and it's just really like sloppy looking. So anything with kind of a little bit of an elevation, so your bridges, your overpasses, that is where you're in your grasses. That's going to be where you could see some minor snow accumulation, in my opinion. It's going to be our far northern area in our communities, in our viewing areas. So Seymour, Bedford, North Vernon area. From there south, you get a little bit of mixing going on. And as we progress through 8 a.m., you see we continue to mix in a little bit of sleet, a little bit of freezing rain, and a mainly cold rain scenario for our Kentucky communities, basically south down near the Kentucky parkways and maybe as far north as around Bullitt County. So if you are south of around Bullitt County, you're likely going to see mostly cold rain. North of 64 is where most of this mixing is going to happen. By the afternoon tomorrow, we warm up above freezing anyway. So any impact from the morning will be gone by the afternoon. And then we're back in the 40s and we got cold rain. From there on, it's a really wet week. I won't spend much time on this because I know you want to hear about the wintry mix. Tuesday, some showers possible. They're scattered. They become a little bit more widespread and a little bit more consistent Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday as that boundary hangs around, because it's going to hang around for a little bit. And that's going to bring in kind of just waves of on and off, on and off, on and off, on and off showers and storms. And I think we could warm up later this week into the 70s for multiple days. And if we do, that's going to leave the door open for a little bit of instability to form. And then, of course, you could bring in maybe a couple stronger storms. So worth keeping an eye on. So keep your questions in mind. We're going to go through a couple different models here. I'm going to show you what it's spitting out, and then we'll go through it. So this is the HER model. This is what I just showed you. It's a really reliable, high-resolution model, and this is what it's thinking for snow totals. And you see it's just not a lot. The further north you go, it starts to come up a little bit, but it's still not much, right? I mean, what's showing in Louisville right there is basically a dusting, and more of like a half inch up into Seymour. You look at another model. This is our in-house model. It's called the RPM model. And you can see it's got some higher snow totals up to our north, but it has nothing for Louisville. But the thing that these models have in common is that it's showing some very minor snow potential up in southern Indiana, Seymour, Madison, Bedford area, and further up to the north, Sellersburg, and further north. In Louisville, it just doesn't show a whole lot. Doesn't mean we're not going to get any, but it just doesn't show a whole lot. Now I want to focus on the freezing rain. So I'll be honest, not all data shows freezing rain, but there's some high-resolution data, like the HER model, or the HRRR, you may hear us call it, that is showing some minor ice accumulation. It's been kind of flipping back and forth, but I don't think it's going to cause big issues. I think it could be a light icing. So this is the NAM. This is the North American Mesoscale model. It's pretty reliable. This is what it's showing for ice accumulation. It's not much at all. That's a little quick little icing, little glaze, and it's not even for everybody. It's mainly, and in my opinion, if you're going to see any light freezing rain, it's going to be just south of where that snow forms and just north of where you're mixing in rain. So from around, say, Paoli down through around 64, maybe down through southern Jefferson County. Doesn't look like a big deal, but it doesn't take much, right? You go over to GFS. This is where you start getting your higher snow totals to our north, but every single one of these models show higher snow totals in southern Indiana compared to here in Louisville, right? So something else I want to mention is those pavement temperatures. So while they are above freezing, That means most of what falls will probably melt on contact. But if you get enough heavy precipitation and it's snow or sleet or freezing rain, if it's heavy enough, that can take over and overpower the warmer pavement and still allow some slick spots to form anyway. Do I think this is a big time issue tomorrow morning? No, but I think there could be some minor traffic issues tomorrow morning. But I just don't think it's going to be an incredible event or anything like that. But there could be some slick spots. So here's what I've got this morning, and this will be tweaked. So this is not a final call, and in fact, that looks like an is that my most recent one? Hang on one second. Yep. So this will be updated a little bit for the evening when Matthew Wine comes in, and that'll be kind of the last call is when Matthew comes in this evening once we get even better data rolling its way on in. I think if anyone in our area is going to see any snow accumulation, it's going to be in our far northern counties in southern Indiana. Bedford, Seymour, North Vernon. I keep mentioning those three communities. Those are the three prominent ones up there. An inch to 2 inches, I think it's mainly more likely even north of our viewing area, to be completely honest with you, up into south central Indiana, closer to Indy. And I think you're talking under an inch, that's 0 to 1 inch, south of there down through Louisville. Not that big of a deal. And most of it will not stick onto the pavement. What could cause a little bit of some dicey travel is more of the light icing. And it's still not a guarantee, but I just want to mention it because some data shows it, and it still could be a potential. So a light icing could be possible south of where it's mostly snow, north of where it's mostly rain, from around Paoli down through around Shepherdsville, and east and west, both directions. So Tell City, Shelbyville, Oldham County, Spencer County, Louisville, New Albany, Clarksville, Georgetown, Indiana, areas like that. A light icing would be possible. And by light, I mean like a quick little coating, quick little glaze. But again, here's the good thing, is that the road pavement temps are above freezing. And if it's not falling heavy, it's going to be hard for that to bring in high impacts, which is why I don't think it's a very high impact system, but I think we could have some minor impacts out of it. So that's what we're looking at for tomorrow. Let me know what questions you got. We're going to do a quick little stream here today. And then Matthew Wine will be in this evening, and he will update what it's showing. Because even last night, Matthew and I were texting, and the data was just all over the place. I mean, there was some high-resolution data that was showing some good ice accumulation. And then this morning, it was showing almost nothing. So you got a lot of flip-flopping back and forth, which is why there's still some uncertainty in this system. But I just want to give you guys a heads up that tomorrow morning, especially along and north of 64, you may have some dicey travel in the morning. Although I don't think it'll be a huge deal, you could still have some slick spots, especially on the elevated surfaces, like your bridges and your overpasses. Let's see. I'm in Mitchell, Indiana, work in Bloomington. What kind of road conditions up Indiana 37 are we expecting for the 6 a.m. commute? That's Andrew Goodmill on Facebook. There could be a few slick spots, Andrew. The further north that you go, the more likely you'll run into some minor slushy accumulation. And I say slushy because not all of it's just going to stick because the pavement temperatures are too warm. So a lot of it may just become a little bit of slush, but that can still be a little slick, and it can still cause some issues. So I think the further north you go, the more little slick spots you could definitely have. Definitely the more further north you go into southern Indiana. Let's see. Oldham County, Robin, you're kind of stuck in the same spot here. So you'll probably have a little bit of a mix between cold rain for a lot of the morning tomorrow, mixing in with some sleet pellets, maybe a little bit of freezing rain in there. But you'll have a little bit of mixed everything in there. But again, what's going to really help us out here in Kentucky is that we're a little warmer. Our temperatures are, our pavement temperatures are above freezing. So that should at least help out, at least somewhat. Let's see. Good morning, Ron. What's up, buddy? How are you? Good morning from Sevierville, Tennessee. I was in Sevierville, Tennessee last weekend. I was there for a bachelor party. E-Town to downtown in Louisville around 6 a.m. So I'll go back to Advanced Shark real quick so we can get another look at the timing on this one because I know a lot of folks are kind of interested on it. By 6 a.m., we're going from a mostly cold rain over to a little bit of a mix. So E-Town, you're going to be more seeing probably cold rain than anything. You could see a little bit of sleet, maybe a little light freezing rain mixing in there, but it's going to be probably a mostly cold rain setup for a while. And then around 6, you may mix in a little bit of the wintry mix in there as you travel further to the north. It doesn't look like a very high impact scenario, but some slick spots is kind of what I'm honing in on, what I'm trying to point out here. Slick spots are going to be a potential for Louisville, but not like impassable roads or anything like that. It's just not that big of a deal. But it can kind of catch you off guard if you're in a quick rush tomorrow morning and heading out the door. Good morning from New Albany. Good morning. Let's see. Heart of Gold on YouTube. Will there be severe weather in the coming days? So I think severe weather is probably a little bit more likely to our west, especially later this week. I can't rule out a couple strong storms because, I mean, naturally, if you're in the mid-70s in late winter, I mean, you're kind of just leaving the door open for a strong storm to pass through because you're leaving a little bit of instability open. I think if we were to see any strong storms, it would be from Thursday, Friday, or Saturday on, mainly Thursday or Friday when we're at our warmest. I think on Saturday, that's when we finally put this thing to an end. I think that frontal boundary will finally get its way on out of here. And then by Sunday, next Sunday, I think we'll calm things down and we'll get some sunshine in here. First day of daylight saving time, by the way, is next Sunday. So that should be pretty good. Is there an app where viewers can use to see road temps? Good question, Andrew. So there's not an app that I know of, but I believe the KYTC website, the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet website, I believe they have road pavement temperatures on there that you can find. You may have to tweak around it a little bit to find it. It may take a few minutes to find it, but that's how I usually find it, is on the KYTC's website. You'll be able to see the pavement temperatures there. Now, they're not constantly updated, so it's every few hours or so. I can't remember the exact timeline, so it's not a constant all the time up-to-date record. So that's why it's not always 100% correct, which is why in a case like this, it can be even kind of more complicated. Let's see. Thank you for the update. Thank you, Carol. Appreciate that. Let's see. What about the stripes in the sky? Angel, I don't know what you're talking about. Thank you for the update. It really helps prepare for the week. Thank you, Tina. You know, doing this is really nice. I come up here and talk to you guys. I'm not limited on time. Again, I don't think it's a huge deal tomorrow, but it can cause some slick spots. So just don't let it catch you off guard. Just kind of what I'm coming on here to let you know. Let's see. Joyce on Facebook. Haven't gotten to watch the news or weather in a while. My question is this supposed to be bad all week? So it depends what your definition of bad is. Tomorrow morning's not bad. It can be a little slick. You can have some slick spots in there. The rest of the week is more wet than anything. Tuesday, we'll have some scattered showers in there. I think there's a better chance of showers and storms Wednesday through Saturday. That stretch there is going to be pretty wet. Any outdoor plans, they're going to be kind of dicey getting them in. They definitely will. Indiana road temperatures, Andrew, I'm not sure. I think you can find that on INDOT, INDOT. You might be able to find that on their website. But again, it's just not all updated constantly, so it's not always 100% accurate, which makes it a little bit more difficult. You can probably see where I'm coming from now. Let's see. Hope we don't get a lot of snow. We won't. Joyce, I don't think this is a big snowmaker at all. And a lot of us, I think 80% of us, maybe more, probably won't see any snow. We'll see more of a wintry mix in here. Now, you could see some snow flakes, but in terms of accumulating snow, this is not that case and scenario. If anyone's going to see accumulating snow out of this, it's going to be our far northern counties in southern Indiana. Jackson, Jennings, Lawrence counties. Those would be the most likely areas if we were to see that happen. Angela asking about North Vernon. Yeah, I mean, there could be some minor slushy snow accumulation there. Definitely not worth a winter storm warning, anything like that. I haven't heard from the NWS if anywhere is going to be issued a winter weather advisory. I would probably say not. Now, Lawrence, Jackson, and Jennings are covered by the NWS in Indy, not in Louisville, so that'll be up to them. But I think if we were going to have any winter weather advisories, it would probably be just north of our area, or if any of our area was included, it may be those far northern counties in Indiana. So over shoveling, ready for spring. Tina, this isn't a shoveling kind of event. I don't think this is a shoveling event. Again, a lot of you just going to wake up to some cold rain tomorrow. So don't wake up and expect to see snow on the ground. That's probably not going to happen. But that little freezing rain aspect in there is the fact that makes me a little bit uneasy. Not completely. It's just kind of like I see it in the data. I'm like, okay. I mean, pavement temps are above freezing, so that should help. But it can accrete on some elevated surfaces, especially. So your bridges and your overpasses are going to be what could be a little bit more slick in Louisville, really, than anything. Good morning from New Albany. What's up, Jessica? Good morning. Temperatures around the coming week, they're warming up, Joyce. Right back into the mid-70s. Right back into the mid-70s. Let's see. Any other questions? Just let me know. Stay on here just a few more minutes, and I'll get out of your hair. That way you guys can get your Sunday plans on. I mean, yesterday was perfect, though, right? My family and I went down to Bernheim Forest yesterday, and got to spend some family time outside. It was great. Spent the evening in Bardstown last night, and it's a great evening last night. Felt really nice out. At least we got some sunshine early this morning, right? Oh, my gosh. Angel, look, if you're just going to come in here and troll, just go ahead and leave. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. You don't look up. I don't know what you're talking about. You take off the tinfoil hat. I don't know what you're talking about. I drove from Marysville to North Vernon in the whiteout before they called the delay on Thursday. Should I hold off in the morning and not leave quite as early? Don't want to do that twice. So, Angel, that's a really good question. Thursday was a little bit of an anomaly. I'm not going to lie. It overperformed what about 90% of models showed. There were only a couple that showed that much snow up there. And usually, if there's one or two outliers, we kind of just ignore it. If all the other ones are saying one thing, if 8 out of the 10 models are saying one thing and 2 of them are saying something else, naturally you're going to believe the 8 out of the 10, right? That was an interesting one. This one, I mean, is there a potential it could overperform? Sure. But that's why I also have a little bit of that light snow accumulation range up in southern Indiana. Because if that was going to happen anywhere, that would probably be where it would happen. An overperform scenario in Louisville would be a little bit more of the freezing rain aspect, maybe some extra snowflakes in here that could cause a couple more slick spots. Good question. Let's see. We have to sell Girl Scout cookies on Thursday afternoon in Meade County, rain or not. Carlene Jansen on Facebook. Yes, there will be some scattered storms on Thursday. How widespread they'll be is still a little bit up in the air. I still think it's a little bit more likely to be more widespread on the Indiana side. But I mean, Meade County's close to there, so there's a decent rain chance on Thursday. Yes, I wouldn't cancel anything outdoors just yet. But it's going to be a pretty wet week from Wednesday on. And I don't think it's a constant all day rain all the time, but it will definitely come in more waves, on and off, on and off, on and off. Our accumulating snow pretty much done for the season. So it's tough to say. I mean, never say never. 50% of the weekly La Niñas like we see this year have had a spring snow. And by spring snow, I mean meteorological spring, which started today, by the way, in March. 50% of them had measurable snow. Now, you're talking about a big snow. We're probably done with it. But a couple little quick hitters you can never rule out. You can never rule out. Any thoughts on how we're looking with heavy snows closer to spring? I guess I just kind of answered that one as well. Oh, man. Yep. All right, give me a couple more questions and we'll hop off here. Again, just watch out for some slick travel tomorrow morning. Shouldn't be a huge deal. But you know, it could catch a few people off guard tomorrow morning, especially up in southern Indiana. So just don't let it catch you off guard. Maybe leave a couple minutes early or wake up, see what it looks like out there. If you're just getting mainly cold rain, if you go work a 9 to 5, for instance, and if you leave at like 8:30, if you look out at 8 o'clock and it's mostly a cold rain, then you're probably just fine. If you're seeing a little bit of sleet or pellets mixing in there, just try to assess the road and go from there. Just kind of see how it looks outside tomorrow morning. Before you head out, and then decide if you want to leave early or not. I'm not gonna come on here and tell you to leave 15 minutes early. It's more of a kind of at the moment basis, would be kind of my opinion on that. But if anyone's going to see snow accumulation, it's definitely going to be most likely in southern Indiana, up in Lawrence, Jackson, and Jennings. You could get some minor accumulation south of it, but with the road pavement temperatures being so warm, I think at that point, you're talking more of a slushy accumulation than anything. I don't think you're talking about impassable roads by any means, and this isn't a big snowmaker at all. But it's just one of those little sneaky ones that could roll through and could cause a couple issues. So that's something that you just might want to keep in mind. Thank you for the updates. Thank you, Curtis. I appreciate that. Thank you, Janice. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Angel, I hope you have a good day. Jeez. Thank you, Tina. I really appreciate that. Yep. All right. Well, I think that's it. So hopefully I covered all the bases. If you have any questions, you can message me, meteorologist Bryce Jones on Facebook. You can find me there, and I'll try to get to as many questions as I can. So we'll have some clouds roll in later on today, and then it will fill up the skies, and then it's going to cool us down. So we should only be around 50 to 52 maybe this afternoon. And then we'll get ready for that little bit of wintry mix tomorrow before we got our wet week ahead of us. So thank you guys for joining. Like, share the stream. Meteorologist Bryce Jones on Facebook. You drop me a follow.